Welcome back to our 2024 Player's Handbook Species Deep Dive. Do you want to know which one's good for you?
Find out in this video and you'll try some out in your next campaign. What's going on, YouTube? I'm the Mind Flayer Slayer.
And I'm Dr. DM, and we're back finishing our coverage of the 2024 Player's Handbook. We had to divide this video into two because there's a lot to talk about with these species. And now we're on to the remainder of the species. We'll give you our in-depth thoughts on them. So let's get started with the Goliath.
Giant ancestry. You are descended from giants. Choose one of the following benefits, a supernatural boon from your ancestry. You can use the chosen benefit a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest.
There's a lot here, and it's really, really awesome.
Take it away.
Cloud Giant, you get Cloud's Jaunt. As a bonus action, you magically teleport to 30 feet to an occupied space. You can see it's basically Misty Step without saying Misty Step.
Free Misty Step!
And proficiency bonus times a day. You can use this 4 or 5 times Misty Steps for free per day. And then, because it's not a spell, then your main action, if you're a spellcaster or anybody else, can be all your attacks or some big spell. You're just teleporting on the battlefield for free. And think about if you're a warlock, when you normally have to use...
I think I'm going to change my class.
When you're a warlock and you have to use one of your precious spell slots to do a Misty Step or some kind of evasive maneuver, now you have like...
Can't touch it.
Infinite. Not infinite, but I mean
pretty
a really
much
good
infinite
amount. I mean, it's proficiency bonus. Okay, what else?
Fires burn with the Fire Giant. When you hit a creature with an attack roll and deal damage to it, you can also deal 1d10 fire damage to that target. So you're getting a level 1 firebolt, essentially.
Which will pair into an attack. So you're gonna like flame on your greatsword and then boom, hit for big damage. At low levels, having an extra d10, you're almost like, you could be doubling your damage depending on what kind of weapon you're using. So if you're gonna take down a boss or some key targets, yeah, it's only proficiency times a day, but that could be some good damage. It doesn't scale super well, but this is good for like a low level campaign, I'd say.
Absolutely. Frost Chill.
Chill.
Frost Giant. When you hit a target with an attack roll and deal damage to it, you can also deal 1d6 cold damage to that target and reduce its speed by 10 feet until the start of your next turn.
This comes actually with some of the new weapon masteries, reducing speed. I think it's sap or slow actually. And again, the damage doesn't super scale very well, but maybe you can use this to stack on and make sure creatures can get past you.
Yeah, I think for me, anything that reduces speed is not worth it. I have never once in my life ever wanted to reduce a creature's speed, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
So
in theory, right, if you're trying to protect the back line or trying to hold an area. But you're right, in combat, when does it really come up? And your DM has other ways to get around it.
You have to track it.
Yeah, so it's not bad, but not the best feature here. I will say an exception would be, for example, Sentinel, like Polar Master Sentinel, where you take creature speed down to 0. That has some usefulness, but just a few feet, maybe not necessarily always to make a big impact.
True. Hill Giant's Tumble. When you hit a large or smaller creature with an attack roll and deal damage to it, you can give that target the prone condition.
No save here, by the way.
No save!
Yeah, so kind of like Eldritch Smite. That's pretty cool. It doesn't do extra damage, but 2 to 5 times a day, free prone. Normally with like Topple, the new weapon mastery, you have to make a save. The enemy has to make a save. It is, yeah. It's really good to have to make sure you get that prone condition, the monster, so you and the rest of your allies can get that advantage attacking them. So incredible. You're just like a Hulk, like boom, hitting them down. I love this. I love this ability.
Stone's Endurance for the Stone Giant. When you take damage, you can take a reaction to roll a d12, add your Constitution modifier to the number rolled, and reduce the damage by that total?
That's a lot, and this is a free ability. If you have no way to use the reaction.
Stacked with like a barbarian?
Yeah, every time. Now there is like Interception is a new fighting style where you kind of do the same thing. It's not even this strong though, actually. I think it's a D10. It's a D12
really
plus 3, 4, 5.
I want to play this class.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a single species offering you this whole slew of options. Now you have to choose when you make the character, of course.
Yeah.
But there's some really good ones here that can go a long, long way to make you very, very, very strong.
Storm's Thunder for Storm Giants. When you take damage from a creature within 60 feet of you, you can take a reaction to deal 1d8 thunder damage to that creature. A lot of species and a lot of players have nothing to do with their reaction.
An opportunity attack, which doesn't always come up. That's true. So the damage, I think, could be a little middling, but it is...
You don't have to roll to hit.
What? Oh my god, that's actually fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. This is great.
Okay, no, you're right. It is really cool. It is really cool. I do wish like the damage ones increased in power a little bit, kind of like you saw with Dragonborn, right? It does increase as you get higher levels. But some of the ones that have static benefits and are automatically applied are still really, really good.
Yes.
There's also large form at level 5, just like we saw with other species. You can change your character size to large as a bonus action. I love the bonus action transformations. Lets you use your whole action for whatever you want. Then you become large for 10 minutes, and you have advantage on strength checks. Your speed increases by 10, and you can use it once per long rest, essentially.
Wow.
You don't get the extra damage like you have with the spell in large reduce.
This is just stacked on stacked on.
I know, but it's like on top of everything else.
There's one more!
And you can definitely use you can go Hodor with this. You can block a pathway or whatever. Really cool.
Powerful build is our last thing. You have advantage on any ability check you make to end the grappled condition. You also count as one size larger when determining your carrying capacity.
This used to be just that advantage, I think, on strength, but now you get can end a grapple condition. Now grapple is really strong with 2024.
It is.
So if you don't want to be caught in that as the player, as like if you're doing a Goliath frontliner, good way to make sure you have a way to get out of that easily. So Goliath is just stacked.
Busted beyond belief.
It doesn't matter really what you choose. You're going to get some really strong, powerful options that in a lot of cases is going to suit you the whole campaign because it scales proficiency bonus. 100%. I mean, just big, beefy, tons of options here. Definitely
go out there and play a Goliath.
Oh my God, let us know how it goes.
Yeah.
It's so awesome, so beefy. Okay, Halfling.
Halfling! Brave! Mr. Frodo! You have advantage on saving throws you make to avoid or end the frightened condition.
That's great, especially if you have a campaign where you're going up against dragons or other creatures that frighten you easily. No, not this brave hobbit, though. Oh, sorry, Halfling.
You can move through the space of any creature that is a size larger than you, but you can't stop in the same space with Halfling nimbleness, okay?
That's not bad. You usually have enough movement speed to get around anyway.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but it could be cool for some very large boss fights against Tiamat or something. It's all right.
You know, there's something that's in here that I think that I'm just going to say it before we even get through the whole list that I think that they should add.
Yeah.
One of the things that is written in Tolkien's work is that hobbits are deadly with stones. So I think it would be so fun if a halfling feature allowed you to use improvised weapons better.
Oh my God.
That should be written in.
Oh my gosh, like nimbleness, you can go through the creature and be like, stone to the taint.
Boom.
Right?
Yeah. I think that should be a thing.
Stone to the taint?
Yeah,
great.
stone to the taint.
Okay, you also get luck. It comes back. It's always a beloved feature. When you roll a 1 on the D20 of a D20 test, you can re-roll the die every single time. Your chances of getting a 1 are very low, like 1 in 400 or something. This is really cool to make sure you are not getting those 1s if you're a person who rolls a lot of 1s, and we have those players at the table.
We definitely have those players at the table.
Yeah, so if you don't want to be one of those players, luck is great.
And naturally stealthy, you can take the hide action even when you are obscured only by a creature that is at least one size larger than you. Again, this is fabulous. It falls in line with everything that we know that the halfling does.
Yeah.
But I think that a lot of these species have just more to do. And that's why I'm saying, you know what? D&D creators, Chris Perkins.
Jeremy Crawford.
Give them the ability to throw stones good.
I like that. But whether they throw stones good or not, this is very, very thematic now. More thematic than it was in previous editions, I think. So I do like it. Not exceptionally powerful, like we've seen for everything else, but useful in the right conditions, especially if you have other teammates that are larger size than you, or maybe even a Goliath. A lot of fun to be had here, a lot of shenanigans.
Absolutely.
Okay, now going back to human. Variant human was, of course, like the premier multi-class build around,
We're
right?
in D&D, I want to play a human.
A human fighter, the best class.
Who did that?
Yeah, that's right. But, it's still a really cool class to do. And now human has a lot of characteristics that still make it plenty powerful. Let's talk about resourceful.
You gain heroic inspiration whenever you finish a long rest.
Okay, not bad. Okay. There's classes, for example, some classes, like the champion fighter, they get it like every time they go into combat, every time a short rest. So, and also musician as a feat gets a lot of heroic inspiration. So it's decent.
We happy few, we band of brothers, for he today who sheds his blood with me shall be my brother.
All right, so we're brothers. Also, you get skillful. You get proficiency in one skill of your choice. By the way, nice monologue.
Thank you.
What did I just say? Oh yeah, you get proficiency in one skill of your choice. That's great. I mentioned that in our other video about Elf, using perception, or some of the skills sometimes that you don't get. Because now with your origin, if you're not doing custom, you have to really be mindful of what you're choosing.
Yep.
So having your choice of proficiency is very good.
And you also have versatile. You gain an origin feat of your choice.
I mean, having 2 origin feats versus 1, it's not as powerful as it used to be, right? Variant human used to get any feat, like Great Weapon Master or whatever it was. Origin feats are limited in scope and their power. So, but there's some good ones like Kalur, which gets you extra initiative. I mean, there's some really cool ones here.
Magic initiates.
Yeah. Oh, it's true. Yeah, it's a good way to make some good builds too. Taking magic initiate, cleric, or wizard, or whatever you want it to be. So
Yeah.
it's a human, still very powerful. It's a great build around for many classes.
Well, you're playing D&D. Don't play a human.
Right, unless you're a human fighter, then do it.
Orc! You get Adrenaline Rush. You can take the dash action as a bonus action. When you do so, you gain a number of temporary hit points equal to your proficiency bonus. You can use this trait a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a short or long rest. It's as Legolas said, they run as if the very whips of their masters are at their heels.
Right. This is really cool in that normally to get dash action as a bonus action, you have to be a rogue, right?
Yep.
With your cunning actions. But being able to do this now, if you want to be the person who gets in and gets moving and gets into the combat or gets away from the combat, depending on what needs to
Or
happen.
you're running around with
Yeah.
some hobbits on your back.
Well, this is okay. Temporary hit points are very few. You get 2 or 3, 4 or 5.
not very good.
So is it good? It can have limited case uses, but if you need it, you need it.
You get Darkvision up to 120 feet.
And you get Relentless Endurance. When you reduce to 0 hit points, not killed outright, you can drop to 1 HP instead. This is a really good ability, but it is more or less featured in other magic items, equipment. Some classes get it, some subclasses get it.
It's a nice inclusion. I think, obviously, as much as we can give to these species, the better, right?
Yeah.
To make them all sort of fit within the same realm of balance.
Right, and there are some combat and non-combat options here. Mostly combat, like Orc has always been. Is it as powerful as like Goliath or whatever? Maybe not. But if you don't want to go down and you want to be able to get into combat with your adrenaline, Orc is a good species to choose.
Finally, we have Tiefling, which is another humanoid with dark vision and a range of 60 feet for said dark vision.
They also get Fiendish Legacy, almost like what we saw with elves. You are a recipient of a legacy that grants you supernatural abilities. Choose legacy from the Fiendish Legacies table. You gain level 1 benefit of your chosen legacy. When you reach your character levels 3 and 5, you learn the higher level spells as shown on the table. That spell is always prepared and you can cast it without expending a spell slot, which is very important, like we always talk about. You get it back on that short rest, and you can cast it using your int, whiz, or charisma mods. Your choice. Let's talk about those legacies.
Abyssal. You have resistance to poison damage. You also know the poison spray cantrip. And at level 3, you get Ray of Sickness. And at level 5, you get Hold Person.
Not too bad. Hold Person is a very powerful spell.
Yeah, for free.
Chthonic, you have resistance to necrotic damage. You also know the Chill Touch cantrip. You get False Life at 3 and Ray of Enfeeblement at 5. Ray of Enfeeblement, I think, is buffed now, so it's a good choice.
Yeah. Infernal. You have resistance to fire damage. And you also know the Firebolt cantrip, as well as Hellish Rebuke and Darkness.
These are not bad. They're situationally good, and they could be a build round, for example, Infernal with the Darkness, like you've seen. I don't think the choices are as incredible as the elf choices, but they're different and unique and could serve your character in different ways depending on what you do need.
100%. And Otherworldly Presence. You know the Thaumaturgy cantrip. When you cast it with this trait, the spell uses the same spellcasting ability you use for your Fiendish Legacy trait.
I mean, you already get some cantrips anyway.
Yeah.
Thaumaturgy is in those lines of minor illusion, whatever, which is fun roleplay, but isn't overly powerful. You can kind of replicate this with, throwing a spell
Really
or something
anything?
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not bad. It's definitely not as good as Elf, I will say.
No.
But
No comparison.
It depends what you need with that spell list. Because remember, you're not using a spell slot for those, so that still makes Tiefling very powerful.
Indeed.
Okay, and this has been our review of all the new species in the 2024 Player's Handbook. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you learned something new. And if you like our content, don't forget to
Smite that like button and ring that notification bell and subscribe and leave a comment down below. If you want to support us, you can go over to fanrolldice.com. We are part of their affiliate program. And if you type in code GG10 at checkout, you're going to get 10% off your order. We're going to get a little bit of a kickback so that we can keep bringing you updated, awesome, excellent, amazing, fabulous content.
And if you really like all this content, you can also join us on YouTube. Press the join button, become a Green Squire, Night Lord, and support us directly. We would super duper appreciate that. Okay, this has been everything. We have a lot more coverage of the 2024 Players. We have a lot more coverage of the 2024 Players Handbook and the Dungeon Master's Guide coming up. So get ready for some awesome learning in the mind.
We'll see you next time.